Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about specifically what it means to have your Mars in Virgo or Mars in the 6th house. My name is Brandon. This is part of a much larger series that I'm doing here on YouTube, so I have a playlist down below of all the videos I've done previous to this, which are going to be all of the Leo, 5th house, and previous videos. So everything from Aries to Leo and 1st to 5th is in that playlist down below, and I will be updating it as I get more kind of videos coming out here for Libra, Scorpio, so on and so forth. So check that out. And then obviously, this is a video for anyone that has Mars in Virgo or Mars in the 6th house. So this is specifically for you. Obviously, if you need to know what your Mars sign is, there is going to be a link down below that you can check out to figure out what your chart is, so you know specifically more so if you have your Mars in Virgo, if it's in the 6th house, those sorts of things. So that is part of it there. And in addition to that, I'm going to actually break this video down into 3 separate portions. If you look down below, you're going to see timestamps, one of which is going to be me talking about Mars in the birth chart, the second of which is going to be Mars in Virgo, and the third of which is Mars in the 6th house. So if you have your Mars in Virgo, feel free to check that out right there, or Mars in the 6th house, feel free to go through those. However, I do think it is important to kind of look at both segments, just because the energy can definitely kind of be merge between those two. And I do mention, the Virgo placement in the 6th house video portion as well. So just kind of eat it all up, see what happens, see what resonates, and leave the rest, honestly, in that regard. So without further ado, let's get started, talk about what it means, just Mars within the natal chart. Okay, so Mars in the natal chart is going to have a very invigorating, angering, not really inviting energy. It's gonna be very active, right? Because Mars is this masculine, this kind of fighter, this going after your goals. It's your willpower, it's your anger, and it is considered to be a malefic planet, so it's considered to be a little bit more difficult to kind of work with. Now, Mars here definitely wants to bring up quite a lot of just focus wherever it's put in the chart, right? A lot of your energy and what gets you up in the morning, what motivates you, is where your Mars placement is by house and sign. And then of course you're gonna wanna see what your Mars placement is, so that you can see the ruler of that Mars placement and the aspects and all those different things. This is very much like, there's a lot of layers to astrology. This is just kind of the beginner layer of that. And so if you have your Mars in Virgo, Mars in the 6th house, this portion, or this video rather, is for you. But Mars in general is going to be a lot of how you motivate yourself, go after your goals, go after what it is that you want out of life, and really fight for something. And it's the energy that, gets you up and gets you going. And it's also how you motivate yourself, motivate others. It rules all things that are heated. So anything that is going to be fiery, motivational, anything that is anger, your libido, your sex drive is all kind of linked up into Mars, and kind of how you go after what you want, right? Martian type of, things are very much like the warrior, the fighter, the soldier, the one that has to go out and go into battle. That's what Mars is really about. And so I just want to let you know that the Mars placement is really important, especially if you are an Aries rising or a Scorpio rising. This Mars placement is going to have a lot of importance. So I would definitely urge you to figure that out first and foremost, because you are ruled by that Mars. Also, if you have Aries or Scorpio pretty prominent in your chart, you're going to have a big importance to understand how to utilize your energy, your will, your anger, your sort of just reserves within a day, like what you have to accomplish, right? So with that being said, I think we're going to go right into what it means just to have Mars in Virgo. And then obviously, this video is here on YouTube, so if you are interested in, like, comment, share, subscribe, all those things, that would help me, because this is what I do. I love doing this. I love providing this value. So just wanted to do a little shameless plug there. And I do also have another shameless plug. There is in the description box, I have my course down there, my beginner's course, as well as any other future courses that I come out with are going to be down there. So feel free to check that out as well. But now, without further ado, let's talk about Mars in Virgo. So Mars in Virgo is a very, honestly, I really like this placement. I really enjoy Mars in Virgo. Mars in Virgo is one of those supportive Mars placements because it has a lot of connections, really, to other areas that Mars does well in, right? So Mars is considered to be exalted in the sign of Capricorn, and it rules over Scorpio and Aries, and therefore is considered to be, and the opposite of all of those, to be a little bit more difficult, right? So Mars in a Venusian sign, so Mars in Taurus, or Mars in Libra is going to struggle a little bit more. And then Mars in Cancer has its own sort of struggle in that regard as well. So I would really, really urge you to understand the dignity, right? And it's not necessarily like a, a death sentence if you have, this sort of terrible or like undignified Mars, right? I talked about that with the Mars in Cancer video. I definitely recommend you check that out. Just because there's so many people that speak so negatively about Mars in negative dignity, or any planet in negative dignity, they really kind of don't look at it really positively, and they're just kind of beating you down in that regard. And I want to let you know that there is power in having a non-dignified placement, and there's also power in having a or there's also benefit in not having everything dignified and everything powerful, right? It almost has like this overexpression in a lot of ways. But all that aside, this is Mars in Virgo, so we have, Mars in another Earth sign, where it doesn't do well in Taurus because it's in a Venusian sign. It does really well in Capricorn, and this is the Earth sign in between those two. And so we tend to see with this Mars Virgo, people that are quite organized, quite, willful. They want to figure out everything. They want to plan everything. They want to understand specifically how to be the most efficient with their time because they're going towards that goal, right? They're kind of that Earth sign between Taurus and Capricorn. And they're also the sign between Leo and Libra. And I talk about this with the other Virgo videos, and I'm probably going to talk about this with every Virgo video I do. But Leo and Libra, and therefore Virgo, kind of in the middle of that, has a lot to really learn and really lean into, because it's between Leo and Libra, which are the signs related to the ego, the self, the individual, the heart, your heart center, your joy, and then Libra being, the sign of others and the partnership. So with anything in Virgo, it's going to have a natural inclination to really try and figure out, how am I different from this person? How am I, working to improve upon this relationship? Or how can I improve what I'm giving to this person, or how I'm receiving this person, or how I'm acting on these goals, right? How can I really, really work towards a sense of improvement and consistency, right? And it can come with an anxiety of feeling like you're not, worthy of the people that you want, or you're not capable of working towards those goals, or you are kind of giving yourself away in a lot of ways. And the thing about Mars in Virgo, it is another mercurial ruled sign. And so because of this, it does have, it lends to a more mental kind of stressor and mental motivation as well. So when Mars is in a mercurial sign, or there's any Mars-Mercury stuff, there's interesting conversations related to cars and driving and communication and writing. But there's also a lot of conversations around just the mental stress that comes with a Mars connection with Mercury. There is a lot of mental motivation as well, where you are just constantly mentally motivated by just perfecting, improving, getting better at things, and having a goal that you're working towards. And Mars Virgo really strives to go towards something better, and they're really working their goals every single day and trying to get better in a lot of different avenues so that they can become the purest version of themselves, right? And that's another thing with Virgo. It does really lend to this act of purity, not necessarily purification through toxicity, but purity through being efficient with your time, being efficient with your energy, having the most use out of your day, right? Using the most of your day as you possibly can. And Mars Virgo really wants those individuals to really be organized with their day and go after what they want and have a goal in mind, right? But if a Mars Virgo does not have that goal in mind, they will just make lists upon plans, and they will not execute. And that is something that a Mars Virgo, and any mutable Mars for that matter, can really struggle with, because Mars in any mutable sign is going to have that duality, that ability to change and shift and kind of go in these different directions, right? When you have mutable stuff strong, you might not have a lot of staying power in what you're going after, a lot of conviction in what you're doing, but you have a lot of gifts and a lot of mental, kind of adaptability to kind of go at any single problem that's being presented to you. There's a lot of there's almost this kind of fighting in a day-to-day that is related to, feeling like you don't have the right people around you, or you're feeling like you need to improve something every single day. And it's almost like every day feels like a battle to really be as efficient as possible. And the thing about Mars Virgo I really urge you to really understand that you are your biggest critic, and you're the only one that's competing against you. You are ultimately competing against you. You're not competing with anyone else. You're not competing with anyone else's goals or anyone else's path. It is you against you, and you can improve your day as much as you can. And Mars in Virgo really wants to do that every day, and find a way to really improve what they are doing, who they are becoming, what goals they are setting. They want to really improve that every single day. And that is anxiety inducing to be in that introspective kind of phase, right? That workhorse energy is almost exhausting. To always be in and always be trying to perfect and trying to figure something out. The good thing is, this makes them extremely intelligent, as they're able to kind of deal with issues that come up, especially related to health, and their nervous system, and being able to regulate the nervous system is really important for a Mars Virgo individual, as well as digestion, right? The thing that I kind of said earlier about purification still rings true to Virgo placements, but another thing that's really important about Virgo placements is this idea about digestion and being able to take in a lot of information, take in a lot of goals, take in a lot of things on your to-do list and hit them off, and be able to really feel like you've kind of gone through and fully kind of understood all of what that specific task was, or what that task needed to be, or those sorts of things, right? There's an aspect here with Mars in Virgo that really lends to an overwhelm and being able to sit with that. So I would really urge you to really take care of your gut, take care of your kind of the stomach, everything that is being kind of brought through you. Really work towards that. Work towards having a very solid sense of, physical health, routine health, and things that are just consistently helping you feel like you are getting better, right? Every single day, you want to work towards improving your life, improving your health, improving what you need to get done. And Mars in Virgo is no different, but Mars in Virgo definitely has that as an everyday experience, where they're really trying every single day to be like, oh, I should have figured this out before. I should have done this before. I should have done that, right? And there's almost this anxiety of feeling like they're never going to get it all done, right? Now, the good thing about Mars Virgo is these are the people that really, really can help really fix a problem, fix a mistake, find the most efficient way to get something done. Virgo placements are great at that. Every Virgo placement has its own gift. And Mars and Virgo, I think, is really about motivating people to understand how best to kind of fix the puzzle that's in front of them, right? Mars and Gemini has this as well, but not to the same degree. Mars and Virgo really urges this individual to be able to fix the problem that's being presented, even if it's, and they're probably going to feel like every single problem is theirs to bear, but it's not. And you can't fix every single thing. You can't do every single thing. But they get a lot of joy out of finding the answers and being able to kind of tease something out. So this is really big on people that are like mechanics or have that mechanical kind of systems thinking, being able to really organize and see things in a very holistic or compartmentalized way, and being able to kind of combat it in, a system or an order or a foundational sort of step by step, right? Like that's something that really, really helps Mars and Virgo. They can organize that forever, and that, that can make them feel like they're getting something done, but it's not necessarily getting that thing done, right? It is a plan written down is a plan half finished, right? And so that's a really important thing. That to-do list can kind of ever be changing, but it is something that Mars Virgo needs to really understand, the power of surrendering that control, because you can only accomplish so much in your day, right? When we have Virgo placements really prominent, something that I think is really important to bring up is the importance of the opposite, right? Which is Pisces. The importance of surrendering, the importance of trusting, the importance of understand there's only so much you can do in the day and leave the rest up to God or Source or whatever you prescribe to. And when we put, Mars and Virgo, we're really wanting to do a lot here physically, do a lot here on Earth, but a lot of the time we forget that we are a spiritual being having a human experience. And so sometimes Mars Virgo or sixth house placements get stuck in that mental kind of prison, essentially, of trying to figure out what they're grounding here, what they're doing here, what they're here to do, right? And sometimes they don't look at the vastness that can be when they surrender, right? Because spirit is always going to kind of guide you in different ways that might not be within your control, right? They're going to kind of bring you to ways that don't make sense, right? And you feel like you always have to make sense. You always have to bring things back to reality. And sometimes that takes the mystery and the fun and the joy out of life sometimes, simply by allowing yourself to just go with the flow and see what spirit has for you and have a day that is simply allowing yourself to exist and be. So I would urge a lot of Mars Virgo or Virgo heavy people to do meditation, do things that are allowing them to feel that vastness, do transcendental meditation as well, to connect to all that is and allow themselves to be kind of releasing control of what they can and cannot accomplish in a day. So yeah, Mars and Virgo, you guys have a lot of goals in mind, a lot of things you want to do, and there's a lot of execution ability. And these can make for great healers, great therapists, great people that are able to help people through, like I said, their goal setting, right? Being able to look at someone as a problem to be fixed, right? Because a lot of the time, that is how they view their issues. It's like, how can I fix this problem? They're the fixers. And I think sometimes there's not always an easy answer, and sometimes you have to just go with the flow and do the Pisces thing and let the answers come to you or be revealed to you through surrendering or understanding that you can really, make sense of anything that's being presented to you information-wise, and letting that control kind of be like given away or dissolved away, if you will. So yeah, Mars and Virgo, you guys have a really cool sort of goal here. And it's about finding that specific goal and working towards that very specific goal. And actionable steps is really important for Virgo placements, any of them, but Mars Virgo really wants to, they get lit up by their ability to plan and do a lot of things and have that kind of step-by-step goal. So I'd urge you to keep doing that. Don't overdo that. And remember to kind of release that kind of control and kind of needing to keep things in a grounded reality sense, even though it is important. See the bigger picture sometimes, or allow yourself to step outside of that and look more objectively at everything that you've accomplished and that you set out to accomplish as well, and see what purpose you have beyond that, because I guarantee you definitely do. You have more purpose than just working a monotonous day to day. And obviously if you're watching this video, you definitely are looking for those answers anyway, but you definitely have something further than just the physical work you're here to do, right? You have so much to offer the world, and it only just is beginning as you're setting these kind of foundational stepping stones, even if it is just learning astrology and learning about this placement, and working with your Mars Virgo. Also have like a solid workout routine, even if it is just having like a day of doing nothing, right? Allow yourself to have a lazy day or a potato day, or one of those days where you just literally do nothing and just relax, right? As opposed to trying to be more efficient with relaxing, right? I think Mars Virgo gets really caught up in the capitalistic kind of like rat race, so make sure to kind of deter that a little bit. But that's really it for Mars Virgo. I think there's so much you guys have to bring to the table, and I really enjoy talking about Mars Virgo. I think you guys are one of my favorites because they do have a natural sextile to Mars in Scorpio, as well as a natural trine to Mars in Capricorn. They do have an inconjunct to Mars in Aries, though, so there is going to be this kind of disconnect, or feeling like there needs to be something that needs to be done. You need to do something. You need to fight for something. You need to accomplish something. So allow your Mars Virgo to lean into both the emotional kind of goals of others and the empowerment that you really need and that you're given from other people, myself included, a Mars and Scorpio individual. And then, also finding a goal, finding someone or some authority figure to really work towards, even if it is within yourself. Understand that you don't have to accomplish everything in one day's time. It's really important to take that time to rest as well. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about Mars and Virgo. We're going to kick it off in the next part with Mars in the 6th house. Obviously, if you have your Mars in Virgo, thank you for watching this. I'd love to hear your story about how that has been for you, but stay tuned if you also have Mars in the 6th house. I'd recommend you watch it too, just because there are some things that I bring up when I talk about Mars in the 6th that is related to Mars in Virgo as well. So I'll see you guys in the next part. We talk about Mars in the 6th house. Okay, so we have Mars in the 6th house. This placement is going to have a lot of bad things said about it on the internet, okay? Whenever we put a malefic planet in a not necessarily positive house, we're gonna see a lot of negative correlations, right? And I'm not gonna sit here and just be all positive and say that doesn't exist, because Mars definitely has its own issues that it brings to a chart. And when it's in the sixth house, the sixth house rules all things related to debt, but more so, but not debt in the financial sense. I want to kind of make that clear. It's more of karmic, physical, health related debt. So think about things that you need to accomplish while you're here, the laundry list of work that you have to do, the service you have to provide, the day-to-day monotony, the things and the people that you have to take care of. That is all sixth house. Pets rule the sixth house. Coworkers rule the sixth house. People you have to work with, people that you have to provide some service for, as well as just anything that you kind of need to do in your day-to-day is the sixth house, as well as taking care of your health, right? When we think of the sixth house, we think of all things that are, monotonous, routine. And the sixth house Mars is likely going to have some health-related or just routine-related issues of needing to take that power back from their routine, from what they do, from their coworkers, right? The work that they do is definitely going to be pretty powerful with Mars here. They're going to want to figure out how to be very efficient with their time. They're going to want to accomplish a lot in their day-to-day. They're definitely going to have a strong will. The thing about Mars in the sixth house, people talk so negatively about it in a lot of ways because they speak about how it rules illnesses. It rules, all of these like kind of sicknesses and physical ailments. But the other thing that people tend to not bring up, and if they don't bring this up, this is kind of a sign of an astrologer that doesn't know what they're talking about. But Mars is actually considered to be in its joy in the sixth house, meaning that it functions pretty well here over everything else. Yes, Mars is malefic. Yes, the sixth house is a difficult house to have any planet in. But Mars here is, out of all the sixth house planets, is the one that is most likely to do well. Obviously, you have to look at the entirety of the chart, right? If we have Mars in a difficult sign, it's going to struggle more, but Mars in the sixth still wants to really help itself and help get that list done, right? When Mars is in the sixth, I had Mars retrograde in the sixth house for quite a while, a couple years ago, and I was able to get so much stuff done in that time. Mars has since returned to that time, and I am still going through a lot of needing to work and improve my routine and those sorts of things, because Mars in the sixth house is like, okay, let's work, let's get stuff done, let's be efficient, let's keep working, let's keep going after our goals, let's have some routine, let's have some health regimen that we kind of prescribe to. And Mars will invigorate that. It will make it where you really almost feel like you need to get something done. You need to, or else it's going to kind of make the next day harder, right? Mars in the sixth really wants this individual to understand the power of their day-to-day. And also, there is some sense with Mars in the sixth where they can almost have an overpowering relationship with their coworkers and with just wanting to improve how different people work, right? Virgo placements have that in general. Sixth house placements with Mars, though, I think, especially if it's a really strong Mars, they're going to have a lot of, they're almost going to be like the lead of their team, right? Or they're going to be someone who, has a lot of conflict, especially if Mars is in like Libra, or if it's in Gemini or Aquarius. Any air sign Mars in the sixth is going to have this like social kind of difficulty with their coworkers. But there is a sense of like the people you work with every day, the routine that you built. There's a lot of power in that, and a lot of you trying to work towards the next goal, right? And so obviously you want to look at Mars dignity, Mars placement by sign, as well as Mars aspects and ruler and all those things to kind of get a better holistic idea of what Mars is really doing in that specific house. So for example, if we have Mars in a Martian ruled sign, right, either Aries or Scorpio, you can imagine this is going to go quite well just because Mars is in its own sign. However, Mars in its own sign, like I had kind of said or hinted at a little bit earlier, when it comes to dignity, sometimes those lessons become stronger. They become louder. So even though Mars might be, in a good dignity with Aries or Scorpio here, this can kind of be where a lot of the stressors come, right? Almost where, because Mars is in its own home. It's able to use its own skills. It's able to understand how to, work with, using and pulling out the swords and the conflicts and the emotional undercurrents and the issues. And it knows how to bring those out in people. It knows how to motivate as well. It knows how to motivate. It knows how to get its energy kind of brought up. It knows how to utilize its sexual energy to get what like what it wants. It understands how to use its physical vitality to go after its goals. So when you put Mars in a Martian sign in the 6th house, this is great for, going after your goals in a lot of various ways. It gives you a lot of power here. But there is something to be said on when Mars is in dignity, it's almost like a lot of power, and it's almost like, well, how do you use that? How do you work with that? How do you allow your day-to-day routine to kind of control you? Or there's almost like an overexpression there of Martian things. But there is a lot that can be accomplished here when Mars is in its own dignity in the 6th house, once again, because the joy is in that 6th, because it gives Mars something to do. It gives Mars some goal to keep working towards, and it gives him a laundry list of stuff to kind of, keep accomplishing. And so obviously if you have your Mars in Aries, check that video out. I already did that video there, because there's a lot of power with Mars in Aries. I did that video quite a while ago, but it is something definitely worth checking out. But with Mars in, so Mars in a Martian sign is just going to kind of aggravate that. So there's definitely more sensitivity to coworkers here. Mars in a lunar sign as well, like Cancer, is going to be similar. So it's interesting. I kind of skipped over Venus, but it's fine, we'll get there. But Mars in the moon sign in Cancer, this is where we're going to see a lot more sensitivity to what you're doing, right? Mars in Cancer in the 6th, this is someone who I would really urge to take the emotions from their day-to-day and their coworkers and all that emotional stuff that they put off or they put into or take from other people, really purify that, because the 6th house is a lot about purification, digestion, and when it comes to Mars, there's a lot about digesting one's anger, right, in the 6th house here. But there is almost a sense with this of Mars really needing to feel its feelings and allow the emotions to run. So if you get really upset at work, at your coworkers, allow those emotions to kind of come out. Like, I don't mean like blow up at them in that moment, but know that there is your emotions are valid, and they're really important to understand the kind of motivations behind that and how that's being affected, how it's affecting your work, how that's affecting your health, right? Mars in the 6th house can burn off health problems simply by letting it out, like letting that Mars do what it wants to do. And that's why, like I said, Mars in a Martian sign is just going to want to do what it wants to do anyway, so it's going to kind of aggravate that. So there might be more of a need to work out more consistently with Mars in a Martian sign, versus Mars in Cancer is going to have more of a need to really feel those feelings, sit with those feelings, express those feelings, and let it come out when it comes out, and understand that they're protecting something. So there's very like a protective sort of part here, but they need to feel their feelings and digest them and let them out. And a lot of things with Mars in the 6th would benefit from typically like heat related workouts, so hot saunas, hot yoga, even just going into steam is really going to help a Mars 6th house person. Just working up a sweat is going to help just kind of purify the body. That's something that I think is really important to bring up. And then Mars, and let's kind of move on to Mars in a Venus ruled sign, so Mars in Taurus or in Libra. Like I said earlier, with Mars in Libra in the 6th, this is someone who may have, some interesting issues with coworkers. Obviously, you're going to want to look to Venus's placement in the chart to kind of get a better idea of what else this Mars in a Venus ruled sign wants, and is kind of craving and really, values. But overall, Mars in a Venusian sign is really looking for peace in this day-to-day. So they might always be having like issues with coworkers, or finding peace in their own sort of work environment or in their own day-to-day. And so they really want to just have like a day where they just do yoga, or they just do essential oils, or they just do something sensory and bubble baths. And that can be okay. But Mars still kind of aggravates that. It's almost like they only do the beautiful thing or the self-care thing when it's reaching its the absolute end, or when it's motivated by some stressor at work or some stressor in their health, right? Mars in Venus or in Taurus or Libra really can have a almost like monetary stressor about like their health, can decline, or they're not taking care of their health, they're not doing what they need to get done, and they can almost kind of just spend a bunch of money or argue with a lot of with their partner consistently, because they're really struggling to find that right motivation. And so there is motivation, motivating factors for both of these Mars signs that are related to their values, their worth, their money, and their relationships. And so I think it's really important for Mars in a Venus ruled sign to understand that there is value in being angry. There is value in expressing your anger, and there is value in putting yourself first. Especially that's more so to the Mars Libra than anything else. So yeah, Mars in the Sun's sign. So in Leo here, I did this video just last season. But Mars and Leo in the 6th. This is someone who may have a career or a work schedule around children or self-care or creative endeavors. So when we put Mars and Leo in the 6th, we are going to see someone who really wants to create something new and really live from their heart. And so there can almost be a really big desire for this person to really love what they're doing every day, live from that creative center every single day, and find ways to constantly work towards that, find little pockets of joy in their day-to-day. And the thing is too, with the 6th house, there is this aspect of it being related to just the work that you do every single day, not even on yourself and like those sorts of things, but like your actual work and your job, not necessarily your career and what you want to attain, but your work and your job. And I think there's something to be said about Mars there in the sign of the King, in the 6th house, of wanting to kind of work creatively and kind of be admired every single day. So this is someone that could also be like Mars in any fire sign in the 6th can be like a motivational speaker, motivational consultant, kind of help people find that spark and find that motivation in a lot of ways. And Mars Leo, I spoke about this a lot with the Mars Leo season, but there is a aspect of this where they're sharing their light with people, and that therefore is helping people be motivated and feel more invigorated in a lot of things. Mars and Virgo in the 6th, obviously this is like doubled up in a lot of ways. Mars in a mercurial sign, so we have Virgo and Gemini here. These are both going to be really active people. These are the ones that are really like medical or like salesy or just kind of like in their mind and use that as a skill set in their day-to-day. So they need a very invigorating job and a very talkative and mentally kind of stimulating day-to-day, and learning and having conversations and kind of teasing stuff out and finding better ways to improve their health or other people's health, or find different like talking points, right? There's a lot of things with Mars Mercury that are very motivational, but it's motivation coming from a mental standpoint. So they need to find things that are mentally kind of invigorating them to go after their different goals. And Mars in Virgo or Gemini in the 6th definitely needs that. Mars in Virgo is more on the critical side, internal side. This one I would definitely urge you to look at your digestion, because that is really doubled up with Mars Virgo in the 6th here. The 6th house generally rules that in like just in general or general illnesses, but Mars Gemini has a little bit more of a focus around the nervous system and the hands and kind of hand injuries, and speaking injuries, writing injuries, anything with like your limbs can be Gemini. Your ears are also Gemini. Any of your sensory things is Gemini as well. But so there is definitely you need to get energy out when Mars is in the 6th house, just period. You need to, find ways to expel that and burn it up. And that's where working out is so important to a prominent Mars placement, but especially Mars in the 6th house, and working towards a health goal. Then we have Mars in a Jupiter ruled sign. So we have Mars in Sag and Pisces. This is an interesting one because when we put Mars in Pisces here, obviously it's opposite. So this is Libra rising typically. We're going to see people that are really creative, and they kind of almost on the other end of it, where Mars Virgo is very like in the details, in the objective reality. In the subjective reality in their own kind of world. The Mars Pisces in the other end of it. They're in the objective world. They're in everything that's spiritual and doesn't really make sense, but they're the ones that are really looking for meaning every single day in what they're doing. They're really striving to find some sense of meaning, and really allow themselves to be driven by faith. And so the thing about this, it's really interesting. We put Mars and Pisces in the 6th. There is this almost sense of just letting go and letting God do everything and not really having much organizational skill, and groundedness. And there is this sense of needing to bring that in with this. And Libra risings have like the ultimate goal of balance, but this is something that Mars Pisces in the 6th, I would urge them to look at their feet, look at how they're kind of using steps they're taking, right? There's almost an over-reliance on Mars Pisces on the kind of out there philosophical kind of, the faith-based thing, which is great. They can have a great creativity, a great artistic flair. And it really is important to look at what Mars is doing in Pisces in the 6th house, if that's the placement, as well as Jupiter's placement, to see where these faith, like what the faith is kind of being brought into, how Jupiter's kind of talking about things, where they find meaning. And then Mars and Sag, very similar, but Mars and Sag, because it's another fire sign, it's not as watery. There is this aspect of this where they're motivational, they're inspiring, they're culturally kind of driven to, help their culture, help expand knowledge, help teach people. These are, the ones that are college students or really love to be in environments of learning. Mars and Gemini has this as well. It's a little bit different because it's like in the day-to-day. Mars Sag still has that every day, but it's about going towards bigger goals, going towards meaningful things, trying to find bigger concepts, and learning from those people, right? Learning from people that have experience and are mentors and religious, and kind of using religiosity and philosophy to guide them every single day to take their steps, right? Both Mars and Sag, or Mars and Pisces in the 6th house, could be those people that pull out, a tarot card, or, do a meditation before they go out to their day-to-day to kind of see how spirit's guiding them, especially more so Mars Pisces, if anything. And something I wanted to note as well, when you have Mars in a water sign in the 6th house, this is someone who can be a very great energetic healer, in the like healing arts, whether it's massage, whether it's, body work or just energetic work. It's just a lot of healing that these people can definitely bring to the world when Mars is in the 6th house in a water sign, but in general, just in the 6th house. It has a lot of healing energy and healing work to be done on others, and debt to pay back, but in ways that also allows you to feel like you've accomplished and touched and helped a lot of souls on your time here, right? Then we have Mars in a Saturnian sign. So we have Mars in both Capricorn and Aquarius. This one, obviously Mars in Capricorn, the 6th, this is a very powerful placement here, because Mars loves to have a goal, loves to have, rigid kind of timelines, and Mars in Capricorn really strives to find the perfect routine and the perfect way of going after their goals and having the right goal set and having the right career ambitions. And this is someone who very much is like a leader in a lot of ways. Although obviously Mars and Capricorn might not learn those things until their Saturn return around the age of 28 to 30, about learning how to really let go of that control. But there is a strong kind of thing here. There is something here too to be said with Mars in Capricorn, or Mars in a Saturnian sign even, about the status quo, right? Being able to do what everyone else wanted you to do, right? I should do the juxtaposition of this with Mars Cancer and Mars Capricorn, because Mars Capricorn's a lot about maintaining, what works like in a capitalist system, right? Mars Cancer is all about maintaining what the family emotional kind of responses are to work. So Mars Cancer in the 6th can definitely work for their family or work with their family. Mars Cancer just kind of has that in general. But in the 6th, it's almost like their routine and their stuff is dictated by their family, by their roots. And then in Mars Capricorn, it's by the establishment, by the goals, by the CEO, by the boss, right? Mars Capricorn in the 6th does have a kind of entrepreneurial work for themselves energy as well. So there is definitely an importance to bring that up. But there is a lot about status quo and maintaining or breaking the status quo when it comes to Mars in a Saturnian sign, because they want to sustain, they want to have long-term goals, and they will stay in that lane. But then Mars in, Aquarius has a little more of a flair to it, because it's wanting to break out the mold, try something different, and really expose what needs to be changed and innovate towards their goals and towards their work and towards their coworkers. This is, once again, Mars in an air sign in the 6th house has social kind of faux pas or social kind of issues within their coworker relationships or within who they work with, their colleagues, right? When you have anything in Virgo or the 6th house, there is this colleague relationship that tends to be kind of brought up to the forefront. They can also just be motivated by their colleagues. It doesn't necessarily have to be all negative with Mars. Once again, it can just be motivational. Like they're just really motivated by their colleagues and the work that they do, and it wants them to do more. But with Mars Virgo, Mars 6th, they need to know that, that won't come, that will be kind of unveiled to them over time, right? Obviously, Mars in certain signs is going to unveil that more obviously than not. But Mars in the 6th, and Mars in Virgo needs to understand that they're not going to have the answers to why they're here every single day. And it's kind of like a a consistent build of why they're here, what they're here to do, and every day is a gift. Every day is a gift, and every day what you accomplish in that day is also a gift. So it's a lot about being able to simply live every day to its fullest, and be able to understand that there is no necessary guarantee for tomorrow, but you have survived all the difficult days prior to this, and you can obviously survive everything ahead of you, and everything that you put off today is only going to make tomorrow harder. And the more things you do today, it'll make tomorrow easier, right? So I know that's probably going to like cause more anxiety for Mars, Virgo, Mars 6th housers, but it is important to understand that you can either choose to suffer now and make things a lot better for your future, or you can choose to live in comfort now and then, make things harder for you in your future. So set those things up, set up that foundation, do a lot of those things, and you will be set for life in a lot of ways. And you'll touch a lot of people, help a lot of people. And the more you can understand how you can help people and the right way to do that, which is something that Mars, Virgo, Mars 6th does over and over again. They're trying to find the perfect way to be of service, simply allowing themselves to be and allowing themselves to kind of work and do what they're doing. You are inherently valuable. And this is something we'll definitely get into when we talk about Venus Virgo, because that's a whole video in itself coming out. But Mars Virgo, I really urge you to understand that there is power in what you are accomplishing, and there is a goal. And you might not see it every single day, but those steps will make sense, and you will understand it as things kind of unfold throughout your life. So that's it for this video. Obviously, thank you so much for being here, giving me the opportunity to do this. I love being able to talk about these things. This is my job. It's what I do for a living. I love astrology. I love being able to provide, some sort of value in these videos. And I hope this gave you some value. I hope this kind of helped you out. If that did, obviously leave a like, comment down below how that was for you. I'd love to hear it. Obviously, it helps me out, helps this channel going, helps me be able to do what I'm doing here to provide more astrological insights and knowledge. And with that being said as well, obviously down below, I have all of my courses and all of my offerings there. So feel free to check that out if you're interested in any readings with me and you like the way that I read, like the way that I talk about things. I would love to take a sneak peek at your chart and kind of see what else is going on. Because obviously with this placement, you're going to want to look to see what Mars ruler is doing, what Mars aspects are, and obviously, what the Mars house and sign is, all those sorts of things. So once again, like I said, I love doing this. I'm appreciative of this. I'm really grateful just to be able to do this for anyone here. And I really hope this video, even if this video only helps one person, I'm grateful for that. And I hope it's you. So thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the next series, or the next video, which is all about, Mercury and Virgo. So thank you guys once again. I'll see you guys later. And make sure once again to subscribe to that little playlist down below so you can kind of check out whenever these other videos come out. But yes, I'm done. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.